as you might be able to see, I'm obviously not in my usual surroundings this Sunday morning. I'm actually at Shea Feathers tonight. The reason for that, they're having a bit of a girls' night round at our house, and essentially I've been kicked out. There you go. Now you might notice that there are Christmas lights up. I know it's not Christmas, but he's worked out it's cheaper to have LEDs than having big light on. So there we go. Anyway, on to Wednesday against Luton. No place in the starting lineup for the new signing Stuart Armstrong, and also no place, because the paperwork not done in time, for another new signing, Ibrahim Sissoko of Plymouth Argyle. Or Toulouse via Plymouth Argyle. Quick look at the Wednesday lineup then. Beadle in goal, a back four of Valerie, Ehekwe, Bernard and Lowe, Charles and Bannon in midfield, and then an attacking front line of Patterson, Windass and Gassama supporting Jamal Lowe at centre forward. I get a bit frustrated. I love Danny Rule, I really do, but I do get frustrated with Jamal Lowe playing up front there, because I do think he can do it. I do think he can play up front in a two, you know. If you're not going to play a two, I'd play him wide, but that's just me and one of my little pet peeves. Anyway, a strong Wednesday lineup. Patterson obviously retaining his spot in there. I think he deserved to after his performance at QPR. Michael Smith on the bench again, but as Danny explained after the game, he wants to have impact substitutes, so understandable in one sense, a little bit frustrating in another. Now Luton Town, a team in absolutely terrible form. As you can see up here, the last 9 fixtures before today are just a string of losses. A lot of goals conceded, not many scored. And in its own way, that puts a little bit of pressure on Wednesday, because there's no such thing as a gimme in this division, as we saw when we were down there at the beginning of the season at Kenilworth Road, when we were robbed with those two very suspect handball decisions, especially the winning goal, the Harlem Globetrotter bit. And I don't like these sort of games. I don't. It's like when I'm betting. I never bet top v bottom. It's always bottom versus 15th or whatever. Do you know what I mean? But there's always that chance there of an upset. So we're up there pushing for playoffs. They aren't won in X many. I weren't taking this as a banker. It's a funny game of football, innit? We all see things differently, and I know there's been a huge level of frustration today with the result and perhaps the first half performance. I went online after the game. I don't know why. I need to delete myself off that stuff, you know, really. But now and again you do get snippets of stuff and think, oh, that's quite good. But it's just the rest of the bilge, innit? And mainly, I only go on there to pimp my videos anyway. But after the game, worst performance ever. When did you first start going at match? Last week? What? Worst performance ever? It weren't a great first half, but it weren't the worst I've ever seen. And I thought Wednesday would actually probably marginally on top of the game. We had a couple of bright openings. We had a chance down the right hand side, and a nice little 1-2 with Windass and Patterson. Patterson put a real good cross in, and Anderson did really well actually, because Lowe had made a terrific run in, got himself across there, made a really good block on the cross. Doing another moment, Charles chopped in off the left hand side, put a cross into the back stick, and McGuinness has just out-muscled Lowe to header, which is probably gonna happen. I mean, McGuinness is a big unit, isn't it? You know, and it was a scrappy game. You know, it was a bit messy midfield, both sides. The pitch was a bit messy. I don't think that helped us. There were a number of times we tried to get ball out to Gassama on left hand side, but especially in front of that south stand, which we all know has been a problem for a lot of years down there. That it looked like a late 70s, early 80s pitch down there on that near side. And we have got a new groundsman coming in from Manchester City. God alone knows what he's going to think walking into this, you know, because I would presume that everything at Manchester City is state of the art. You know, he's coming in here and he's really going to have to earn his money, innit? Because Middlewood Road that they've not been able to train on, for 2 weeks after Christmas, and an heavy pitch down there, he's really going to earn his corn. And some people are up for the challenge, aren't they? And I think if you're a groundsman at Hillsborough, you've really got to be up for a challenge. Anyway, Mr. Lee Jackson, the new Wednesday groundsman, wishing him all the very best. I suspect he's going to need it. That's a little bit of link playing out right hand side again. I think it's Windass and Charles. Ball gets dinked out to Patterson, puts a fizzing cross in with outside at boot, which just evades low head, and Gassama's coming in at back stick, but not quite got heels on. Probably with that heavy pitch, not quite got the end of it. And Luton, I don't really think it causes that many problems. Obviously, they've got that big unit from Barnsley up front who are chucking his weight about. In fact, at one bit, he did a remarkable thing. He managed to foul Patterson, Ehekwe and Valerie, all in the same move, and then still tried to claim a throw-in down in front at North. Unbelievable. Just after that, they score. Max Lowe goes down left, puts a sort of cross into middle, really, except it's near halfway line. It's sort of their edge at centre circle. Again, it's a high ball in. Jamal Lowe is back to goal. There's no he can really do with that. He's got a big unit up his arse. Bobbles down into midfield and they make their way through. The big lad up front, he does actually quite well to hold it up. He gets knocked out wide, knocked into him. And it's a good little layoff on, getting Ike's wrong way, lays it out. And there lad, Doherty, with his big J-Lo arse that you could rest a pint pot on. Anyway, a bit of power in them thighs, because one touch and what a hit that is. You've got to... Wednesday will be disappointed the ease with which the original lad gets through the midfield and manages to get the ball out wide, and perhaps Valerie can get out to him a little bit quicker. But if we've scored that goal, I'd be delighted with it. Run through middle, ball out, crossing, nice hold up play, and that is a great hit. That is a great... Beadle's got absolutely no chance with that. One touch, bang. And like I said, maybe Valerie can start getting out to him. Even if he's out there straight away, I don't think he gets there. That's a really quick touch in it from there, lad. It's a fantastic strike. I'm wiggling about all over the place. There's no backrest on this. It's an old-fashioned bench. Me back. Maybe that's my age. Even on Wednesday aren't dead. Like I said, the pitch is a bit of a pudding. I don't think it's helping us. We're obviously wanting to try some 1 and 2 touch stuff, but the ball's holding up a little bit, so we're having to come and meet it instead of getting on bike. We're having to take a step into it. I think that's slowing us down a little bit, which in turn then is now and again making us having to go longer, because I think a little bit of frustration's coming in. But again, another good move just before the break. Windass down the right side, fantastic cross, hardly any backlift on it, and that whips in. Anderson, the former Barnsley lad, he gets in the really, really good header in there. And, we've got to be fair as well. McGuinness and Anderson today, two proper centre-half performances from them two. They have headed, kicked, tackled, blocked, taking it in nuts. Proper defending, And they did that into the second half as well. Now, Wednesday made changes after break. Michael Smith come on for Jamal Lowe. An understandable change, Lowe will be frustrated because despite the fact nothing's come off of him, and it was a bit of a sticky performance from Wednesday in first half, he's ran his balls off. He's really ran his balls off. I've watched the game and then watched it back because I'm a bit of a sad old lad. I'm watching it back at the second time. He's made so many runs and the ball's either not made it to him with stickiness at pitch, or it's been it long in air, and he's had McGuinness and Anderson, two very, very big units there. He's not going to win them. So I felt a bit sorry for him in that sense. And I always feel like when a team's not hit third gear, the sacrificial lamb always seems to be the centre forward who's barely had a kick. But if you're not getting the ball into the right areas or picking the pass to find the runs, then... But anyway, horses for courses. Michael Smith came on. Don't think anybody's too upset with that. Personally, I'd like to start him up front every week. You know, whether that's on his own up front or with a partner up front. I mean, he scores goals. He scores goals. The other substitution, an early start for Stuart Armstrong. He came on into midfield. And with him and Smith, that meant a little bit of a shuffle of the system. It sort of morphed into more of a sort of 4-3-3 really for me, you know, that sort of what I call that old Mourinho formation. And I thought it suited Wednesday. Straight from half time, we were really hard of the traps. Some of that'll be down to substitutions, but some of it, I'm sure lads have had a bit of a sort out in there and got in amongst themselves, you know. You've got to have big characters in the dressing room, and I've got no doubt that Danny will have been getting messages to him and coaching stuff, but I'm sure the players themselves will have been saying to each other, you know, come on, we can do more here. And they did do more. It was a really positive start. I mean, it opened in 3 minutes at half. We probably had 3 decent opportunities. There were a header by Windass into the box, and it came down for Valerie, and it didn't shoot straight away. I know there were loads of groans, but as the ball were coming across him, the defender's coming, and the defender starts making the lunge, and I think Valerie thought, oh, he's going to block that. So I think he just gave that extra second to let the ball run a bit more to get a better angle. I don't think it's the windy shooting joke that everybody thinks it is. There is a method in what he was trying to do. Gassama had a good cut inside and a shot in off the right hand side, and the series little flurry of corners we had. Deshaun Bernard did a bit of a karate kid of at Bard at second attempt, but Wednesday were turning screw, and it was only going to be a matter of time before we scored. There was no danger of that. And on 58 minutes, we did score. Penalty. But it all starts with Jedi Gassama, who, as I said 2 or 3 months ago, really started to improve his decision making, where and when. As I said last week, he's starting to look stronger in shoulder. He's holding people off, shrugging people off more. Fantastic run. 50 yards right that middle of the pitch. You know, there's defenders bouncing off him into slipstream. They're trying to foul him. He gets into the box and eventually he does get fouled. But what I love about Gassama, not only the improvement that we've seen and the little things that we've seen in his game where he's making the right decision with his pass, when to give and go, when to go on a mazy run and dribble. What I like about him is it's a bit of a throwback. You know, a lot of football these days, whatever level it is really, you see a lot of, it's almost football by numbers. You know, when he goes here, you go there. When this happens, you go here. When that's there, you two come in, and it's all very much like football by route. Do you know what I mean? And when I first started watching football, that flair players, you got them flair players who would just off the cuff would do something. You know, Chris Waddle obviously at Wednesday, but even players who played for other clubs I used to really love watching when I was younger. You know, Peter Beardsley was one of my favourites because he'd just get ball and just set off on a little jinking run somewhere, you know, and then later players like Ginola, you know what I mean? Just a bit of flair. And I think we've seen that less and less in the modern game. You've still got brilliant players who have moments of brilliance, but everything seems to be constrained in this tactical, statistical grid, you know, and I think that's why I like Gassama, because if you've got a system and everybody knows what they're doing, but then you've got somebody within that who's, you know, could go and express themselves, especially in that attacking third. You know, there's got to be a place in the game for it. There has got to be. Still not mentioned goal yet, have I? Well, anyway, he eventually gets brought down in the box at the 9th attempt of trying to foul him. Michael Smith steps up. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant penalty. Now, we went, a calendar year we had a penalty, and then when we got him, we started missing him left, right and centre. That's a right penalty from him, because the the keeper's gone the right way. In fact, I think he even gets his fingertips to it. It's a really good attempt to get there, full stretch dive. But that penalty is it with so much power and accuracy. There's no keeper stopping it. It's right into the side netting, which are the best penalties of all. And I would back him 10 times out of 10, Michael Smith. He's just got that cool exterior, and keeper were trying a bit of faffing behind edge of box till ref sent him back, but Smithy weren't having any of it. Just walked away, nice and cool, stepped up. You could see it in his eyes, not missing that. So it's 1-1, and I genuinely thought we'd go on and win the game. Shortly after that, Windass getting some hammer for this. A good ball into the box. Smithy with a first time shot, really good save by their keeper, and then Windass gets some second ball over at bar, blazes it over at bar, let's be honest, and he'll probably think he should have got it on target, but he's a top 2 division professional footballer. He will think he got it on target. For a layman like me, that's coming down and he's hit that on volley. There's a lot of drop on that. I think that's an harder chance than people are making out. I do, honestly. During this spell, from half time to 65, 70 minutes, really it is all Wednesday. And you've got to get opposition defence. I've looked at some stats after the game. I'm not a massive stats man, but I do like to look at them to see if it correlates with what I think I'm seeing with my own eyes. And it does stack up because, I'm scribbling little notes down like I like to. And I'm like, well, that's... Every time we put a crossing box, they seem to have 7 or 8 men in there. And they did make a lot of clearances. That's what I was talking about first half. Anderson, McGuinness, Ed, tackle, block, knocking it away with their knee, anything. You've got to give them credit sometimes. They defended well. And the lad Kaminsky, he's made a brilliant double save in that second half. Windass has smashed a shot in. He's made a brilliant save from that. Gassam has been in like a flash on the rebound, and albeit I think the flag's eventually gone up, but another point-blank save. Really good goalkeeping. Luton freshen things up because they are defending. They're doing a lot of defending. As I said, every time we get it wide or somebody comes up middle, we're having to probe through and try and break them down, and it's just a wall. It's just a wall of orange shirts in that 18-yard box, and it's hard to break down. It's hard for top teams to break that down. And I know we get frustrated, especially at Hillsborough. But when teams come and sit like that, you have got to exercise that patience, and you're not always going to have it your own way. Even some of the best sides I've ever seen. I think about probably the Ron Atkinson team's probably my favourite team over the years. But even times then, there were frustrating draws at Hillsborough where we just couldn't break teams down because they knew we were a good side, and it was like, right, we're just gonna try and keep them out, and it can be frustrating on the road. I think Wednesday are an away team. I think it suits us. I think because of the pace we've got in the side, we've got people like Bannon, Charles, brilliant long passes of a ball as well to really get teams off guard and counter-attack. And I think that way of playing suits Wednesday on the counter. At home, different game. You're going to have more of the possession, which we did. We completely bossed possession today. And I thought we had bossed possession in first half without particularly creating anything clear-cut as well. And sometimes you don't get them breaks. I think we've had 15 or 16 shots in that second half. But like I said, good goalkeeping, good defending. Sometimes you've got to get opposition a little bit of credit as well. We kept going. That's something you can't, accuse this Wednesday side of not doing. They keep going now. It's only a few years ago under, Gary Monk, and we used to say, well, we're an 85-minute team, because I don't know if you remember, there were a window of Lahukai and Monk, even Steve Bruce, 85 minutes. We just... and often conceded goals, but now we've got a Wednesday side that they keep going till the very end, and I'm proud of that. It's not been enough to break them down today, but that's a sort of team and team ethic that I want to see. We still had a couple of chances at 85 minutes or so. Gassama cuts inside, he has another shot that just gets tipped round foot. We kept going at it. Windass had 3 or 4 really good shots that he's connected really well with. And again, blocks. There were a bit of an half-assed, handball shout from Wednesday. Gassama hit a powerful shot. From angle I saw it, I thought Anderson had got his arms behind his back, and got a bit of barrel on it. But good defending. That's sad to say. Good defending. Sometimes you've got to, it's frustrating, but we finished there with a 1-1. Could have easily been 2-3 or 4-1. But sometimes you don't get them. You don't get them little breaks. I'll put it this way: we'll play worse than that and win. We will play worse than that this season and win games. I know it sounds daft. I'm all right with that. I know they're having a shit time of it, Luton. I know they've lost all these games. Well, like I said, there's no such thing as a gimme, and it's foolish to think there is in this division. 11 against 11, anything can happen. I mean, even in 92nd, 93rd minute, Charles and Gassama again, Lincoln. McGuinness, an absolute desperado challenge, chucking him sen in there. Didn't look like there were an ounce of gas left in him, but he's thrown everything in there, and that's Championship football, ain't it? Workman-like teams will nick points now and again, and it's frustrating. I know they're shit on road, Luton, but I thought there was enough in that performance that I was pleased with. Honestly, maybe I'm a soft touch, but I'm not going to call them out for that. I'm not going to call them out for that. I thought that was a decent display overall. No, I did. Man of the match? Well, it's dead easy for me. I thought there were some decent performances. I've seen Bannon getting slated. Not his best game, but look, go back, just look at his involvement. It's nearly every move we make is in there somewhere. He can't be Zidane every week. I think he's played well. I think the problem with Bannon is, I think because his standards are so high now that, he puts in a 7 out of 10 and it's like, you know what I mean? If it's not a 10 out of 10, it's miss him when he's gone, I tell you that. But me man of the match, because games hinge on moments, and as I said earlier, I do like to see a little bit of flair and excitement, and players will get you out of your seat. And my man of the match, Jedi Gassama, just gets better and better and better. Decision making has improved tenfold over this season, and he's in danger of becoming a saleable asset the way he's playing at minute, because I've absolutely no doubt about it. There'll be teams looking at him now. Who's this kid? Premier League clubs, I think, he's worth a sniff. Terrific display. Always tries to make something happen. That's the best way I'd describe it. He always tries to make something happen, and you can't have enough of them lads. Yeah, overall, frustrating, because draws always are. And obviously at home as well, because at home there seems to be this thing that we want to be entertained, it's like bloody Joaquin Phoenix in Gladiator, in it, with entertainers. I don't know. I thought it was alright. Right. Better get all this stuff away now then.